Thimlich Ohinga is a Luo phrase referring to a dense, frightening forest. It is located 42 kilometers from Migori town. The whole area is 52 acres. By fraction, a third of it is occupied by stone structures, and the remaining part is made up of indigenous forest. The main exhibitions found at the site are a Luo traditional setup, a wall built of stones in the 14th century, and a forest. According to archaeologists who did research on the site, the artifacts discovered include damp ashes, fish bones, house depressions, beads, and ceramics among others. The old indigenous Luo men, through questionnaires administered by the archaeologists, traced 9 communities that stayed and passed through the site. These communities eventually moved on due to various reasons.
The first archaeologist who discovered this site is called Dr. Louis Leakey and Mary Leakey. Now, if they did carbon dating, they could easily tell how long the artifacts have stayed inside. We also administer oral questionnaire through this archaeologist by inviting old men around the region to at least to trace for us which community stayed and passed the site. But they tried to find out, and they could be able to discover about 8 communities. The first group was Kanyamwa, who arrived here in 1924. Then we have Kaboch Kachieng, here not known. Then we have Kanyamkago. Then we have Bawegi, Bakamoti, Baturi, Baguseru, Barrieri, and lastly, Kamageta. Now from there, they could not trace any more. The reason why they stayed and they passed the place, according to oral questionnaire, they said there was an attack from flies, and these people could not able to control these flies. Flies were causing nagana to human being, or sleeping sickness, sleeping sickness to human being, then nagana to their animals. In fact, this is the major reason why they stayed and they moved out. In fact, across Africa, the stone structures are only found within Migori in Kenya, and there is a similar structure like this one in Zimbabwe. They call it the Zimbabwe ruins. I think I'm okay.
The National Museum of Kenya in 1980 built a typical homestead to replicate the structures in the museum. The man's hut, known as Abila in Luo, was positioned next to the first wife's hut and was surrounded by the wife's hut, with the first wife on the center, the second one towards the left, and the third one on the right. The man's hut served as an administration block where disputes were solved. Towards the entrance were the sons' huts. They were strategically positioned at the front for security purposes.
The wife's house is built at the center when the door faces the main gate. On the other side, on the left-hand side, when entering the compound, we have the second wife's house at the far end. The second wife's house. She is a helper to the first wife. Then on the right-hand side, when entering into the compound, we have the third wife's house. She is also a helper to the first wife. They don't own a gate in this compound. That's why their doors are placed directly opposite. Then between the third wife and the first wife, we have the man's hut. That is the administration block. It is called a bila. There is where all the disputes is being solved. There is where all the reports. The man should spend the night in that hut. When the man is out, he delegates the first wife to take charge. Now when he comes back, the first wife will give all the report pertaining the compound. Then at the far end, if you stand facing the gate, on the right hand side, we have the first son. On the left hand side, we have the second son. Sons were building their huts next to the gate to provide security for the elderly. That's why always, if you enter into a Luo typical setup compound, you will always find huts of the young men next to the main gate. Then behind you there, at the center, we have a cattle kraal. It is called a depot in vernacular. There is where all the animals spend the night. Then we have the granary. This is just an example. It is a store where all the grains are being stored after harvesting. Now each and every woman should have her own granary. And if you want to check, if you are a man of this compound, if you want to check and know who is a hardworking woman, you just go and check the store. If the store is full with grain, that means that specific woman is a hardworking. Now this compound, sorry please, this compound was restored by National Museums of Kenya in 1980. Now due to research work done inside there, they don't want to interfere with the originality of that enclosure. Now inside there, when we go inside there, you won't see huts of this nature, but we have depressions indicating where huts were built. But a real hut you won't see. That's why they were given a separate compound to restore or to rebuild the way these people used to build their hut long time ago. This is not the original. This is just a replicate of what was built inside there. Now, from here, we will move to the main wall.
The inhabitants of Thimlich, Ohinga used to have entertainment sessions which included playing games such as the ajua and wrestling.
The reason as to why they are trying to say that it was the Luos who are the first occupants, though they are still not yet sure, is because of the games that were found there. As you can see, this is the ajua. This stone you can see, and according to the laws, the ajuas always have 16 holes, 8 this side, 8 this side. If you can count, there are 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8, 8, 16 in number. In each and every tribe, they have got their own holes of ajua. Like in Kenya, the communities that plays ajua, we have got the Kurias, the Mijikendas, the Wajaluo, Waluya. I think they are only those ones that plays ajua. And each and every tribe has got their own holes. So with the Luos, their holes is 16 in number, 8 this side, 8 this side. So this was the game site area.
Among the ruins at Thimlich Ohinga are enclosures of homesteads of Okech, Akuku, and Oluoch. Okech refers to the homestead of Okech. Okech's family were herdsmen, and a cattle boma built outside the house of the family warrior is a proof of the presence of cattle and other animals. A twin gate on the wall of the enclosure was used as a passage of the animals in and out of the enclosure. Big animals like cows use the big gate, while small animals like goats and sheep use the smaller gate.
First using this one, then the small animals like sheep, they were using this one. So because they were keeping large number of cattle, so what they used to do is that in case a cattle give birth, they could break a stake and put for that cattle. So let's say maybe they were having 500 cows. So it means the old man used to have 500 stakes representing all those cattle. So once he's from herding his cattle, he could come and stand here with those 500 stakes. So each and every cattle, as they get in, he drop the stakes. As they get in, he drop the stakes. So let's say if they have come, all of them, and he remains maybe with 5 stakes on his hand. So he conclude that today he lost 5 animals. Yeah, the same to this side. That was the conclusion. So that one could help him to know that maybe the place that he's staying in is not safe for his cattle. So let's say today he realized that he has lost 5. Then again tomorrow he also realized the same number or a higher number than the one he experienced yesterday. So he could conclude that generally this place is not safe for my cattle. Let me leave this place and look for a better place that my cattle can live safely. So that was the meaning of these twin gates. Yeah. So I don't know, I can proceed to Koloch. Don't you see Koloch? So as you can see, Koloch, Koloch enclosure, it is situated on top of this hill. So the reason as to why it was situated on top of a hill was to provide kind of security such that, you know, the warriors could see their neighbors from far while they are climbing up to attack them. That is the reason as to why this one was constructed on top of a hill. And also those depressions that I was telling you, where houses were built, as you can see, these depressions, these ones. So these are the depressions that houses were being constructed. Like in Koloch, this area, there was a house. Like as you can see, this is the cattle kraal. Then the entrance door, the exit door is this one. So what I was telling you initially, that in front of each and every entrance of every cattle kraal, there was a house. And I told you prior that to prove that or to support my sentiment was that there were some depressions. So these are the depressions that I was telling you. So like in this cattle kraal, this is its entrance. There is a depression in front of the entrance. So here is where the houses were constructed. Yeah, so that is the setup of the Luo traditional. Houses are being constructed in front of the cattle boma. So here is where the houses were. So I think we are through with these enclosures, because the ones remaining, they have not yet been maintained like these ones.